Welcome to Stoic Vivu, where we make ancient wisdom practical for modern life. I'm here to help you discover how the greatest philosophers in history can transform your daily experience. Starting right now, let's be honest about something that frustrates millions of Americans every single day. You set up the perfect morning routine. You plan your schedule down to the minute. You commit to daily practices that will change everything. And then, life happens. Your alarm doesn't go off. Your child gets sick. Your boss calls an emergency meeting. Traffic backs up for miles. Your carefully crafted routine crumbles like a house of cards. And you're back to feeling scattered, unproductive, and behind on everything that matters. This isn't your fault. The problem isn't that you lack willpower or discipline. The problem is that you've been building the wrong kind of system entirely. Consider Sarah, a marketing manager in downtown Chicago. Every January, she creates an elaborate morning routine. Wake up at 5:30, meditate for 20 minutes, journal for 15, exercise for 45, eat a healthy breakfast, and arrive at work feeling centered and accomplished. It works beautifully for about 3 weeks. Then her daughter catches the flu, her husband travels for work, and her routine completely falls apart. By February, Sarah feels like a failure, convinced she'll never be the kind of person who has her life together. Sound familiar? Sarah's story plays out in apartments across Manhattan, suburbs outside Los Angeles, and homes throughout America every single day. Here's what the ancient Stoics understood that we've forgotten. Rigid routines are inherently fragile because life is inherently unpredictable. Nearly 2,000 years ago, the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius faced the same challenge. He commanded legions, governed an empire, and dealt with plagues, wars, and family crises. Yet he maintained his philosophical practices every single day, not through rigid scheduling, but through flexible principles. The Stoics didn't build routines that broke when life got messy. They built practices that grew stronger under pressure. They understood the difference between being organized and being adaptable, between having structure and being enslaved by it. What if instead of mourning your broken routine, you could build a system of daily habits that actually gets more powerful when life throws curveballs? What if the very disruptions that currently destroy your progress could become opportunities to strengthen your practices? This isn't about adding more complexity to your life. It's about discovering the bedrock practices that the greatest minds in history used to stay centered, focused, and effective regardless of circumstances. These aren't trendy productivity hacks that work for influencers with perfect lives. These are time-tested principles that worked for emperors managing crises, teachers facing persecution, and advisors navigating political chaos. Today, you're going to learn how to build daily habits that don't just survive disruption, they thrive because of it. You'll discover why flexibility creates more consistency than rigidity ever could, and how 8 simple practices can transform not just your days, but your entire approach to living. Let's begin with the foundation that changes everything else. 1. The morning habit that changes your entire day. Imagine David, a software engineer in Seattle, hitting the snooze button for the 3rd time as rain pounds against his apartment window. By the time he finally drags himself out of bed, he's already 15 minutes behind schedule. He grabs coffee, checks his phone while brushing his teeth, scrolls through emails during his commute, and arrives at work feeling like he's been running a marathon before 9 a.m. Sound familiar? David's day is being controlled by circumstances instead of intention. He's reacting to life rather than leading it, and this pattern repeats itself in cities across America every single morning. But what if there was a different way? Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the ancient world, faced mornings that would make our modern challenges seem trivial. As Roman emperor, he dealt with plague outbreaks, barbarian invasions, political conspiracies, and family tragedies. Yet he understood something that transformed not just his mornings, but his entire approach to leadership and life. In his personal journal, which we now call Meditations, Marcus wrote to himself, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of? If I'm going to do what I was born for, the things I was brought into the world to do." This wasn't philosophical theory for Marcus. This was practical wisdom born from necessity. He recognized that how you begin your day determines everything that follows. The morning isn't just preparation for life. It is life happening in real time. Here's what Marcus understood that David hasn't learned yet. You either own your morning or your morning owns you. There's no middle ground. When you wake up and immediately check your phone, you're handing control of your mind to everyone else's priorities. When you scroll through news or social media before your feet hit the floor, you're programming your brain with anxiety, comparison, and reactivity. When you rush through your morning routine, you're training yourself to approach the entire day from a place of scarcity and stress. But when you claim the first hour of your day for yourself, something powerful happens. You establish a pattern of intentionality that ripples through every subsequent decision. You prove to yourself that you're capable of discipline when it's difficult. You create space for the thoughts, reflections, and preparations that actually serve your goals. Let's return to David, but imagine a different scenario. His alarm goes off at 6 a.m., not because some productivity guru told him to, but because he's discovered the profound difference between reactive and intentional living. Instead of reaching for his phone, he sits quietly for 5 minutes, allowing his mind to wake up naturally. He thinks about the day ahead, not with anxiety but with purpose. David doesn't need a complex morning routine with 17 different practices. He needs what Marcus Aurelius practiced: the simple discipline of getting up when he said he would and beginning the day with intention rather than urgency. The emperor understood that mornings are won or lost in the first few moments after waking. Marcus wrote, "How much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does, but only to what he does himself." This applies perfectly to our modern morning struggles. Instead of immediately connecting to the digital noise of the world, successful people connect first to their own sense of purpose. What does owning your morning actually look like in practical terms? It doesn't require waking up at 4 a.m. or following someone else's elaborate routine. It requires 3 simple elements that Marcus Aurelius practiced every day, even during military campaigns and political crises. First, get up when you plan to get up. This sounds almost insultingly simple, but it's the foundation of everything else. Every time you hit the snooze button, you're practicing the habit of breaking promises to yourself. Every time you get up when planned, you're strengthening your capacity for self-discipline. Marcus knew that the battle for the day was won or lost in those first moments of choice. Second, do something productive before you do something reactive. This doesn't mean you need to write the next great American novel before breakfast. It means taking some kind of intentional action, whether it's making your bed, doing 5 minutes of stretching, writing a few thoughts in a journal, or simply sitting quietly with your coffee before you check messages, news, or social media. Third, set the emotional tone for your day through conscious choice. Marcus regularly reminded himself of his purpose and values in those early morning moments. He didn't wait for motivation to strike. He actively cultivated the mindset he wanted to carry forward. Consider Jennifer, a teacher in Austin, who transformed her mornings by applying these principles. Instead of grabbing her phone first thing, she spends 5 minutes looking out her window and thinking about her students. Instead of scrolling through news while drinking coffee, she reviews her lesson plans and visualizes positive interactions. She arrives at school not depleted by digital overwhelm, but energized by intentional preparation. The beauty of this approach is its adaptability. Whether Jennifer wakes up at 5:30 or 7 o'clock, whether she has 15 minutes or an hour, whether she's at home or in a hotel room, she can still practice these 3 elements. The specific activities matter less than the underlying principle. Claim the beginning of your day for yourself. Marcus Aurelius governed an empire that stretched from Britain to the Middle East. Yet he never forgot this fundamental truth. Confine yourself to the present. Your morning is your opportunity to practice this wisdom. Instead of immediately scattering your attention across dozens of external demands, you gather it into focused intention. This isn't about becoming a morning person if you're naturally a night owl. This is about recognizing that regardless of your chronotype, the transition from sleep to full engagement with the world is a critical moment that deserves your conscious attention. Ultimately, owning your morning is about owning your life. It's about moving from reactivity to intentionality, from scarcity to abundance, from being driven by circumstances to being guided by principles. In essence, the morning habit that changes everything isn't about what time you wake up or how many activities you cram in before work. It's about the fundamental choice to begin each day as the author of your experience rather than a victim of your circumstances. This awareness naturally leads us to explore how the simple act of putting thoughts on paper can create the mental clarity that Marcus Aurelius himself relied upon for effective leadership. 2. How 5 minutes of writing transforms your mind. Set the scene. Rachel, a financial advisor in Manhattan, sits at her kitchen table at 6:15 a.m., staring at a blank notebook page. Her mind races with thoughts about the client presentation later, her mother's health concerns, weekend plans, and that nagging feeling she's forgetting something important. She picks up her pen, writes Tuesday, March 15th at the top, and begins putting words on paper. 5 minutes later, something remarkable has happened. The swirling chaos in Rachel's mind has transformed into clear, manageable thoughts. The anxiety that felt overwhelming now seems approachable. The scattered worries have organized themselves into actionable items and passing concerns. Rachel has just experienced what Marcus Aurelius discovered nearly 2,000 years ago: the transformative power of putting thoughts to paper. Marcus Aurelius, arguably the most powerful person in human history, ruled an empire spanning 3 continents. He commanded legions, governed millions, and made decisions that affected the course of civilization. Yet every morning, this emperor sat quietly and wrote in what we now call his meditations, personal reflections never intended for publication, simply thoughts processed through the act of writing. Think about that for a moment. The man who could command anything he wanted, who had access to the greatest minds and resources of his time, chose to spend precious morning moments writing to himself. Why? Because Marcus understood something that modern neuroscience has confirmed. Writing doesn't just record thoughts, it actually changes how we think. When Rachel writes about her presentation anxiety, her brain shifts from emotional reactivity to analytical processing. The act of forming words and sentences engages different neural pathways than worried rumination. Writing forces her to organize scattered thoughts into coherent ideas, creating what Marcus called putting thoughts to the test. Consider what happens in your mind during a typical morning. You wake up, and immediately your brain starts generating a stream of consciousness. Tasks to remember, worries to process, plans to make, reactions to yesterday's events. This mental chatter continues throughout the day, often creating more stress than clarity. Marcus faced similar mental noise, but on a scale we can barely imagine. He dealt with political conspiracies, military campaigns, family tragedies, and the weight of decisions that affected millions of lives. In his private writings, he worked through these challenges. Today I escaped anxiety. Or no, I discarded it because it was within me in my own perceptions, not outside. This wasn't just philosophical reflection. This was practical mental training. By writing down his thoughts and examining them, Marcus could distinguish between productive concerns and wasteful worry, between legitimate challenges and imaginary fears, between what he could control and what he needed to accept. Let's return to Rachel's story, but imagine she skips her 5-minute writing practice. Instead of processing her thoughts on paper, she carries them as mental baggage throughout the day. The presentation anxiety grows rather than shrinks. The worry about her mother continues to nag without resolution. The feeling of forgetting something important creates low-level stress that affects every interaction. By contrast, when Rachel writes, she creates what psychologists call cognitive distance. The thoughts that felt overwhelming in her head become manageable problems on paper. She can examine them objectively, separate legitimate concerns from imaginary fears, and create action plans for the things she can actually control. Marcus practiced this same technique during some of history's most challenging circumstances. While managing the Antonine Plague, a pandemic that killed millions, he wrote, "How much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does, but only to what he does himself." This wasn't detached philosophy. This was practical wisdom developed through daily written reflection. The power of writing isn't just about problem solving. It's about perspective. When thoughts remain in your head, they can feel enormous and overwhelming. When you write them down, they often reveal themselves to be smaller and more manageable than they seemed. Marcus regularly used writing to remind himself of this perspective, noting how the universe is transformation. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Modern Americans face different challenges than ancient Romans, but the mental processes remain remarkably similar. Consider James, a startup founder in San Francisco, who adopted a daily writing practice after months of feeling mentally scattered. Before writing, his mornings began with an immediate mental download of everything on his mind. Investor concerns, product development challenges, team management issues, personal goals, and random worries. After 5 minutes of writing each morning, James discovered something Marcus Aurelius knew well. Many of his urgent concerns weren't actually urgent at all. Some were important but not immediate. Others were completely outside his control. Many were simply his mind creating problems that didn't actually exist. The writing process helped James distinguish between productive planning and unproductive worry. He could address genuine concerns with specific actions and release imaginary problems that served no purpose except to create stress. This isn't about becoming a professional writer or creating perfect prose. Marcus Aurelius never intended his meditations for publication. The writing style is sometimes rough, the thoughts incomplete, the grammar imperfect. The power comes from the process, not the product. When you write, you slow down your thinking. Thoughts that race through your mind at light speed must be captured, examined, and expressed in words. This process naturally creates the space for wisdom that Marcus called stepping back to gain perspective. You don't need elaborate journaling techniques or expensive notebooks. Rachel uses a simple spiral notebook and a basic pen. James types directly into a plain text document. The medium matters far less than the practice of converting internal mental chatter into external written words. Start with whatever is on your mind. Write about today's concerns, yesterday's events, or tomorrow's plans. Write about what you're grateful for, what you're worried about, or what you hope to accomplish. Write about specific problems you're facing or general thoughts about life. The content is less important than the act of writing itself. Marcus demonstrated that even 5 minutes of morning writing can create mental clarity that lasts all day. He used writing to prepare his mind for leadership challenges, process complex emotions, and maintain perspective during difficult circumstances. Consequently, this simple practice, transferring thoughts from mind to paper, becomes a daily training in mental discipline and emotional regulation. As we'll discover next, this mental clarity becomes even more powerful when combined with the simple physical practice that Seneca considered essential for philosophical thinking. 3. The simple walking habit that boosts everything. Visualize this. Michael, a software developer in Austin, sits hunched over his computer at 2 p.m., staring at code that made perfect sense this morning but now looks like hieroglyphics. His shoulders ache, his eyes burn, and his mind feels like it's running through mud. He's been sitting for 6 straight hours, surviving on coffee and determination, wondering why his brain seems to have shut down completely. Across town, his colleague Sarah faces the same afternoon slump differently. She saves her work, puts on her sneakers, and steps outside for a 15-minute walk around the block. No phone, no podcast, no distractions. Just her feet moving and her mind wandering. When she returns to her desk, something remarkable has happened. The problem that seemed impossible 15 minutes ago now has an obvious solution. Her energy has returned, her focus has sharpened, and her mood has lifted. What Sarah understands, and what Michael hasn't learned yet, is something the ancient Stoics knew instinctively. Walking doesn't just move your body, it transforms your mind. Seneca, one of Rome's greatest philosophers and advisors to emperors, made walking a cornerstone of his daily practice. He didn't view it as exercise or recreation, but as essential mental training. In his letters, Seneca wrote that the mind must be given over to relaxation, that it may return to thought better and keener. He specifically recommended what he called wandering walks, purposeful movement that allows the mind to wander and process. This wasn't just Seneca's personal preference. Ancient Romans understood something we've forgotten in our sedentary, screen-dominated culture. The mind and body are not separate systems. They're integrated parts of a whole, and when you change one, you automatically influence the other. Modern neuroscience has confirmed what Seneca observed through experience. Walking increases blood flow to the brain, stimulates the production of growth factors that support neural connections, and activates the default mode network, the brain state associated with creativity, problem-solving, and insight. When you walk, your brain literally works better. But walking's benefits extend far beyond cognitive enhancement. It provides what psychologists call soft fascination, gentle stimulation that allows your conscious mind to rest, while your subconscious continues processing information. This is why Sarah's coding problem suddenly had a solution after her walk. Her mind didn't stop working. It simply worked differently. Consider Lisa, a marketing manager in Denver, who discovered walking's power during a particularly stressful period at work. Facing impossible deadlines and conflicting priorities, she felt constantly overwhelmed and mentally exhausted. Instead of working longer hours or drinking more coffee, Lisa started taking 2 15-minute walks each day, one in the morning before checking email, and one in the afternoon when her energy flagged. The results surprised her. The morning walk helped her arrive at work feeling centered and clear about priorities. The afternoon walk provided a mental reset that carried her productively through the evening. More importantly, walking gave Lisa something that no amount of sitting at her desk could provide: perspective. Seneca understood this perspective-shifting power of walking. He wrote about how physical movement naturally creates mental movement, how changing your environment changes your thinking, and how the rhythm of walking helps organize scattered thoughts. For Seneca, walking wasn't a break from philosophical thinking. It was essential to philosophical thinking. This is particularly relevant for Americans living in urban environments where we spend most of our time indoors, sitting, staring at screens. We've created lifestyles that are completely disconnected from the natural human pattern of regular movement, and then we wonder why we feel mentally sluggish, emotionally flat, and physically depleted. The solution isn't complicated. It's what humans have been doing for thousands of years, putting one foot in front of the other and allowing the mind to follow where the body leads. Let's explore what makes walking such a powerful mental tool. Unlike intense exercise that requires focused attention, walking operates in what researchers call the aerobic sweet spot, active enough to stimulate circulation and neurochemistry, but gentle enough to allow mental wandering. This combination creates ideal conditions for creative insights, emotional processing, and problem solving. Think about the last time you had a great idea or solved a difficult problem. Chances are, it didn't happen while you were sitting at your desk trying hard to think. It probably happened in the shower, during a drive, or while walking, moments when your conscious mind relaxed and your subconscious could work freely. Seneca recognized this pattern and made it a deliberate practice. He didn't wait for accidental insights during random walks. He systematically used walking as a tool for better thinking, emotional regulation, and mental clarity. For Michael, the overwhelmed developer, adopting a walking practice transforms more than just his afternoon productivity. When he starts taking morning walks, he arrives at work with mental clarity that lasts for hours. When he takes afternoon walking breaks, he returns to problems with fresh perspectives and renewed energy. When he ends his day with a brief walk, he creates healthy separation between work stress and personal time. The beauty of walking as a daily practice lies in its simplicity and adaptability. You don't need special equipment, gym memberships, or perfect weather. You don't need to walk for hours or cover great distances. Seneca often walked in covered porticos during bad weather, proving that the benefits come from movement itself, not from specific environments. You can walk around your neighborhood before work, take walking meetings instead of sitting in conference rooms, walk to lunch instead of ordering delivery, or simply walk around the block when you feel mentally stuck. The key is making it regular rather than occasional, intentional rather than accidental. Start with just 10 or 15 minutes. Leave your phone behind or keep it on silent. Don't try to solve specific problems or think about particular topics. Simply walk and let your mind wander wherever it wants to go. Seneca called this giving the mind over to relaxation, but modern research shows it's actually one of the most productive mental states possible. Notice how your thoughts change as you walk. Pay attention to ideas that emerge, problems that suddenly seem solvable, or emotions that shift and settle. This isn't entertainment or distraction. It's mental training that improves everything else you do. Therefore, walking becomes more than just physical movement. It becomes a daily practice of mental optimization and emotional regulation that the Stoics considered essential for clear thinking and wise decision-making. This foundation of mental clarity creates the perfect conditions for another transformative daily practice that builds wisdom through consistent engagement with great ideas. 4. Why reading 5 minutes daily builds unshakable wisdom. Consider this scenario. Amanda, a nurse in Phoenix, scrolls through social media during her 15-minute break, absorbing a mixture of celebrity gossip, political arguments, and random videos. She feels vaguely entertained but mentally drained, like she's consumed junk food for her mind. Meanwhile, her colleague Robert spends the same 15 minutes reading a page from Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. When their break ends, Amanda returns to work feeling scattered and reactive, while Robert feels centered and purposeful. What made the difference? Both consumed information for the same amount of time, but only Robert engaged with ideas that actually strengthened his mind and character. This distinction between consuming and truly reading represents one of the most powerful yet overlooked practices for building mental resilience and practical wisdom. The ancient Stoics understood something that our information-saturated culture has forgotten. Not all reading is created equal. They distinguished between passive consumption of random information and active engagement with transformative ideas. Seneca, who managed vast business enterprises and advised emperors, never let a day pass without dedicated reading time. He wrote, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." Understanding that daily exposure to wisdom creates cumulative transformation over time. Marcus Aurelius, despite governing an empire and leading military campaigns, maintained a discipline of philosophical reading that shaped his thinking and decision-making. His personal writings reveal a constant dialogue with the ideas of Epictetus, Socrates, and other philosophical teachers. This wasn't academic study for its own sake. It was practical training for living with wisdom, courage, and integrity under pressure. Think about how most Americans consume information today. We scroll through hundreds of social media posts, skim dozens of news headlines, and absorb countless opinions and reactions throughout the day. Our minds become like restaurants with no menu standards, accepting whatever gets served up by algorithms designed to capture attention rather than cultivate wisdom. This constant information grazing creates what psychologists call cognitive residue, mental clutter that makes focused thinking and clear decision-making more difficult. Instead of building mental strength, random information consumption often weakens our capacity for sustained attention and deep reflection. But what if Amanda changed her approach? Imagine she carries a small book of Stoic wisdom and reads just one page during her break. Instead of absorbing digital noise, she encounters ideas like Marcus Aurelius's observation that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This single idea, reflected upon briefly, provides mental tools she can apply immediately to work challenges and personal situations. The power of daily wisdom reading lies not in quantity but in quality and consistency. 5 minutes spent with great ideas creates more lasting mental change than hours spent consuming random information. This happens because wisdom reading engages different mental processes than entertainment consumption. When you read Seneca's thoughts on handling difficult people, your mind actively processes how these insights apply to your own relationships and challenges. When you encounter Marcus Aurelius's reflections on mortality and purpose, you naturally examine your own priorities and values. When you study Epictetus's teachings on focusing on what you can control, you develop practical skills for reducing anxiety and increasing effectiveness. Let's follow Robert's practice more closely. Each morning, he reads one passage from classical Stoic texts, sometimes just a paragraph, occasionally a full page. He doesn't rush through multiple sections or try to cover large amounts of material. Instead, he reads slowly, thinks about the ideas, and considers how they apply to his upcoming day. This approach creates what educators call spaced repetition and elaborative processing. By returning to similar themes regularly and thinking about their practical applications, Robert strengthens neural pathways associated with wisdom, patience, and clear thinking. Over months and years, these daily microdoses of philosophical reading create fundamental changes in how he approaches challenges, relationships, and decisions. The beauty of this practice lies in its accessibility. You don't need hours of free time, advanced degrees, or perfect understanding of ancient languages. Great philosophical works have been translated into clear, modern English and organized into daily reading formats specifically designed for busy people. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations in short, manageable sections because he faced the same time constraints that modern Americans do. Seneca structured his letters as practical advice that could be absorbed quickly and applied immediately. Epictetus taught in brief, memorable sayings that students could carry with them throughout the day. Consider Sarah, a teacher in Chicago, who transformed her mental resilience through 5 minutes of daily Stoic reading. Before this practice, she felt constantly overwhelmed by classroom challenges, administrative demands, and difficult parent interactions. She reacted emotionally to problems and often carried work stress home with her. After 6 months of daily wisdom reading, Sarah noticed fundamental changes in her thinking patterns. When faced with disruptive students, she remembered Marcus Aurelius's advice about focusing on her own actions rather than trying to control others. When dealing with unreasonable parents, she applied Seneca's teachings about maintaining inner peace regardless of external circumstances. When confronting administrative frustrations, she used Epictetus's distinction between what she could and couldn't control. These weren't just nice ideas Sarah remembered intellectually. They became automatic mental responses that shaped her daily experience. The consistent exposure to Stoic wisdom had literally rewired her brain's default patterns for handling stress and challenge. This transformation happens because wisdom reading creates what psychologists call cognitive scaffolding, mental frameworks that support better thinking and decision-making under pressure. Instead of reacting randomly to difficult situations, you develop consistent approaches based on tested principles. Start with just 5 minutes each morning. Choose one source of concentrated wisdom, whether classical Stoic texts, modern compilations, or daily wisdom books, and read one small section. Don't worry about understanding everything perfectly or remembering every detail. Focus on absorbing one useful idea that you can carry with you throughout the day. The key is consistency rather than intensity. Reading one page every day for a year creates more lasting change than reading an entire book once and then forgetting about it. Daily engagement keeps wisdom active in your mind, available for immediate application when challenges arise. Unlike social media scrolling or news consumption, wisdom reading actually increases mental energy rather than depleting it. Great ideas energize and inspire rather than drain and distract. They provide fuel for better living rather than entertainment that leaves you mentally empty. Essentially, 5 minutes of daily wisdom reading becomes a practice of deliberate mental cultivation, systematically building the intellectual resources you need for handling life's inevitable challenges with greater skill and composure. This mental foundation naturally prepares us for the next level of development, deliberately seeking small challenges that strengthen our capacity for resilience and growth. 5. Small daily challenges that create mental toughness. Picture Jake, a financial analyst in Boston, standing at the edge of his apartment building's rooftop pool on a frigid February morning. The water temperature reads 38 degrees Fahrenheit. Every instinct in his body screams no as he stares at the icy surface. His mind generates a dozen reasonable excuses. It's too cold, he might get sick, he could do this tomorrow when it's warmer. Yet Jake takes a deep breath and steps into the water anyway. 3 minutes later, he emerges feeling more awake, energized, and mentally clear than any amount of coffee could provide. More importantly, Jake has just practiced something the ancient Stoics considered essential for character development, deliberately choosing difficulty when ease was available. Marcus Aurelius, who could have lived in complete luxury as Roman emperor, intentionally sought out challenges that strengthened his mental resilience. He slept on hard surfaces when soft beds were available, ate simple food when elaborate feasts awaited, and chose difficult paths when easier options existed. This wasn't masochism or self-punishment. It was systematic training for mental toughness. The emperor understood a principle that modern neuroscience has confirmed. Your brain adapts to whatever you consistently practice. If you always choose comfort, you become less capable of handling discomfort. If you regularly choose ease, you become less resilient when facing difficulty. But if you deliberately practice small challenges, you build mental muscles that serve you in all areas of life. Think about how most Americans approach daily choices. We optimize for comfort, convenience, and ease at every opportunity. We take elevators instead of stairs, drive instead of walk, order delivery instead of cook, and avoid any unnecessary discomfort. While this creates short-term pleasure, it systematically weakens our capacity for handling life's inevitable difficulties. Marcus Aurelius recognized this pattern and actively worked against it. He wrote, "Ask yourself at every moment, is this something that's, or isn't up to me?" This wasn't just philosophical reflection, it was practical training in distinguishing between what he could control, his choices and responses, and what he couldn't control, external circumstances and other people's actions. Small daily challenges provide perfect opportunities to practice this fundamental Stoic skill. When Jake chooses to enter cold water despite his body's resistance, he's training his ability to act according to principle rather than impulse. When he completes the challenge despite discomfort, he proves to himself that he can endure difficulty when necessary. Let's explore why small challenges work better than large ones for building mental toughness. Big challenges, like running a marathon or climbing a mountain, provide dramatic experiences but don't create daily habits. Small challenges, like taking cold showers, choosing stairs over elevators, or having difficult conversations, can be practiced consistently and build cumulative strength over time. Consider Maria, a marketing director in Denver, who felt overwhelmed by workplace conflicts and personal stress. Instead of seeking dramatic solutions, she started with tiny daily challenges. Speaking up in meetings when she normally stayed quiet, choosing the longer walking route to work, and doing 5 extra push-ups when she wanted to quit exercising. These small acts of chosen difficulty seemed insignificant individually, but they created a powerful cumulative effect. Maria discovered that her capacity for handling bigger challenges, difficult client conversations, project deadlines, family conflicts, had increased dramatically. The daily practice of choosing difficulty in small ways had prepared her mind for handling difficulty in important ways. Marcus Aurelius used similar training during his military campaigns. He could have stayed in luxurious command tents while his soldiers slept on the ground, but he often chose to share their hardships. This wasn't just good leadership, it was personal practice in maintaining resilience under adverse conditions. The beauty of small daily challenges lies in their complete controllability. Unlike major life difficulties that happen to you, small challenges are difficulties you choose for yourself. This element of choice transforms potential suffering into voluntary training. When you choose a cold shower instead of a warm one, you're practicing the skill of acting against immediate impulses for longer-term benefits. When you choose to walk up 3 flights of stairs instead of taking the elevator, you're strengthening your willingness to accept temporary discomfort for greater goals. When you choose to start a difficult conversation instead of avoiding it, you're building courage through action rather than theory. Epictetus, who experienced real hardship as a slave before becoming a renowned teacher, understood this principle deeply. He taught that we should regularly practice voluntary discomfort to prepare for involuntary discomfort. Not because we want to suffer, but because we want to be ready when suffering inevitably comes. Modern Americans often wait until a crisis forces them to develop resilience. We avoid difficulty until difficulty becomes unavoidable, then wonder why we feel overwhelmed and unprepared. Small daily challenges reverse this pattern by building strength before you need it. Start with challenges so small they seem almost trivial. Take the stairs instead of the elevators. Park farther away and walk the extra distance. Take shorter, cooler showers. Eat lunch a little later when you're hungry. Have 1 difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Do 5 more repetitions when exercising. These actions require minimal time and energy but provide maximum training value. The key is consistency rather than intensity. Choosing 1 small challenge every day for a month builds more mental toughness than choosing 1 big challenge occasionally. Daily practice creates automatic responses that serve you when real difficulties arise. Jake's cold water practice illustrates this perfectly. The physical discomfort lasts only minutes, but the mental training lasts all day. By proving he can act against his impulses when the stakes are low, he strengthens his ability to act wisely when the stakes are high. Notice what happens in your mind during small challenges. Your brain will generate convincing reasons to choose the easier path. It will minimize the importance of the challenge or maximize the benefits of comfort. This is exactly the mental pattern you need to recognize and override in bigger life situations. When you practice choosing difficulty in small, controlled ways, you develop what psychologists call distress tolerance, the ability to experience discomfort without immediately seeking escape. This skill proves invaluable during work crises, relationship conflicts, health challenges, and financial pressures. Marcus Aurelius faced plague, war, political conspiracies, and personal tragedies with remarkable equanimity, partly because he had trained himself through countless small acts of chosen difficulty. When involuntary hardship arrived, his mind was already prepared. In essence, small daily challenges function like a gym for mental resilience, providing safe opportunities to strengthen your capacity for handling whatever difficulties life presents. This mental training creates the foundation for our next practice, the simple rule that transforms daily productivity and builds unstoppable momentum toward your most important goals. 6. The priority rule that guarantees daily wins. Imagine Lisa, a project manager in Seattle, arriving at her office with a carefully planned agenda. She intends to tackle the quarterly budget analysis first thing, the complex, demanding task that requires her sharpest mental energy. But then her phone buzzes with a text message. While checking it, she notices 17 new emails. One seems urgent, so she responds quickly. That response generates 2 more emails requiring immediate attention. Before she realizes it, 3 hours have passed in reactive communication, and the budget analysis still sits untouched on her desk. Sound familiar? Lisa has fallen into what time management experts call the urgency trap. Mistaking busy work for important work, responding to other people's priorities while neglecting her own, and depleting her best mental energy on tasks that could wait until afternoon when her focus naturally declines. By contrast, consider Marcus Aurelius, who faced infinitely more urgent demands than any modern professional. As Roman emperor, he dealt with military crises, political emergencies, administrative decisions, and personal requests that literally affected millions of lives. Yet Marcus maintained a practice that kept him focused on what truly mattered. He tackled his most important work first, before addressing the endless stream of urgent but less significant demands. In his personal writings, Marcus reflected on this principle. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, "I have to go to work as a human being." He understood that his primary responsibility was to fulfill his most important duties with excellence, not to respond immediately to every urgent demand that crossed his path. This leads us to what successful people throughout history have discovered: the simple rule that guarantees daily progress toward your most important goals. Do the hard thing first. This isn't just time management advice. It's a fundamental principle of human psychology and energy management. Your mental capacity operates like a battery that gradually depletes throughout the day. Decision fatigue increases, willpower decreases, and complex thinking becomes more difficult as hours pass. By the afternoon, tasks that seemed manageable in the morning can feel overwhelming and impossible. Marcus Aurelius recognized this pattern and structured his days accordingly. Despite governing an empire, He prioritized his philosophical writing and personal reflection during his peak mental hours. The urgent administrative tasks, while important, could be handled effectively even when his mental energy was lower. But the deep thinking required for philosophical insight and strategic planning demanded his freshest, most focused mind. Let's return to Lisa's story with a different approach. Imagine she arrives at work, acknowledges the emails and messages waiting for her attention, but deliberately chooses to ignore them temporarily. She closes her email application, puts her phone in airplane mode, and opens the budget analysis document. For the next 90 minutes, she works with complete focus on this complex, important task. By 10:30 a.m., Lisa has completed the most cognitively demanding work of her day. She feels accomplished, energized, and confident. Now she can address emails, attend meetings, and handle urgent requests from a position of strength rather than deficit. Even if unexpected crises consume the rest of her day, she has already achieved meaningful progress on her most important project. This transformation happens because Lisa applied what ancient Romans called primum non nocere, first, do no harm, to her daily schedule. Instead of allowing urgent but less important tasks to harm her capacity for important work, she protected her peak mental energy for peak mental challenges. Seneca, who managed vast business enterprises while serving as advisor to Emperor Nero, wrote extensively about this principle. He observed that most people spend their best mental energy on trivial matters and wonder why they feel exhausted when facing important decisions. Seneca deliberately reversed this pattern, tackling significant philosophical writing and important business decisions during his morning hours when his mind was sharpest. The beauty of this approach lies in its psychological impact beyond mere productivity. When you complete your most important task first, you create what researchers call implementation momentum, a sense of accomplishment that energizes all subsequent activities. You prove to yourself that you're capable of handling difficult challenges, which increases confidence for the rest of the day. Consider David, a software engineer in Austin, who struggled with procrastination on complex coding projects. He would spend mornings checking GitHub notifications, responding to Slack messages, and attending stand-up meetings. By the time he sat down to tackle challenging programming problems, his mental energy was scattered and depleted. Complex bugs that required deep concentration felt impossible to solve. David transformed his productivity by applying the hard thing first principle. He now begins each day by working on the most difficult coding challenge for 1 uninterrupted hour. No email, no messages, no meetings, just focused problem solving when his mind is freshest. The difference amazed him. Problems that seemed impossible in the afternoon often yielded elegant solutions in the morning. This isn't about working longer hours or becoming obsessed with productivity. It's about working in alignment with natural human energy cycles and psychological patterns. Marcus Aurelius didn't spend more time working than other emperors. He spent his best time on his most important work. The implementation requires ruthless honesty about what constitutes your hard thing. For Lisa, it's complex analytical work. For David, it's challenging programming problems. For a writer, it might be creative work that requires original thinking. For a manager, it might be strategic planning that requires a big picture perspective. Your hard thing isn't necessarily your most urgent thing or your most time-consuming thing. It's the work that requires your highest quality mental energy and contributes most significantly to your important goals. Often, It's the work you're most tempted to postpone because it feels challenging or overwhelming. Start by identifying your personal peak mental hours. Most people experience maximum cognitive capacity during the first 2 to 4 hours after waking, but individual patterns vary. Pay attention to when you feel most alert, focused, and capable of complex thinking. Next, ruthlessly protect these peak hours for your most important work. This means saying no to morning meetings that could happen later, ignoring emails that aren't truly urgent, and avoiding social media or news consumption that depletes mental energy before you've applied it to meaningful work. Marcus Aurelius faced constant pressure to handle urgent imperial business immediately upon waking. But he understood that reactive responses to urgent demands, while creating the appearance of productivity, often prevented progress on truly important matters. By handling the hard thing first, he ensured that his most significant responsibilities received his best effort. Therefore, this simple rule, do the hard thing first, becomes a daily practice of intentional energy allocation that guarantees progress toward your most important goals, regardless of how chaotic the rest of your day becomes. This foundation of accomplished priority work naturally leads us to explore how ancient Romans maintained the kind of sustained focus that makes complex thinking and deep work possible in our distraction-filled modern world. 7. How to focus like ancient Romans did. Allow me to set the scene. Jennifer, a marketing director in Chicago, sits at her desk with a critical campaign strategy that requires deep analysis. Her computer screen displays 17 browser tabs, her phone buzzes every few minutes with notifications, Slack messages pop up constantly, and her email inbox shows 43 unread messages. She tries to focus on the strategy document, but her attention fractures across these competing demands. After 2 hours of scattered effort, she's made minimal progress on work that should have taken 30 minutes of concentrated thinking. Meanwhile, 2,000 years ago, Marcus Aurelius governed an empire spanning 3 continents while maintaining the kind of sustained focus that produced one of history's greatest works of philosophical literature. How did he achieve deep concentration amid responsibilities that make modern workplace demands seem trivial by comparison? The answer lies in understanding what Marcus called not being bounced around. In his meditations, he wrote, "Be like the rocky headland on which the waves constantly break. It stands firm, and round it the seething waters are laid to rest." This wasn't just poetic language, it was practical instruction for maintaining mental stability in chaotic environments. Marcus faced distractions that would overwhelm any modern professional. Military reports requiring immediate decisions, political crises demanding diplomatic solutions, administrative matters affecting millions of citizens, and personal correspondence from across the empire. Yet he maintained what we now call deep work, the ability to focus on cognitively demanding tasks for extended periods without distraction. The key difference between Marcus and Jennifer isn't intelligence, willpower, or natural talent. It's approach. Marcus understood something that our hyper-connected culture has forgotten. Focus isn't a talent you're born with. It's a skill you develop through deliberate practice and environmental design. Consider how Marcus structured his work environment. When writing his philosophical reflections, he created what we might call sacred focus time. No interruptions were permitted, no urgent messages could intrude, and no administrative tasks could fragment his attention. He understood that meaningful thinking requires sustained concentration, and sustained concentration requires protecting your mental environment as carefully as you would protect a valuable physical space. Jennifer's scattered attention isn't a personal failing. It's the predictable result of working in an environment designed to fracture focus. Every notification, every open browser tab, every visible email creates what psychologists call attention residue. Part of her mind remains engaged with these background tasks even when she's trying to concentrate on her primary work. Modern neuroscience has confirmed what Marcus Aurelius understood intuitively. The human brain cannot effectively multitask between cognitively demanding activities. When we attempt to do so, we don't become more productive, we become less efficient at everything. Task switching creates mental friction that depletes cognitive resources and reduces the quality of our thinking. But what if Jennifer approached her work differently? Imagine she starts her most important project by creating what Marcus practiced: a fortress of focus. She closes all unnecessary browser tabs, puts her phone in airplane mode, exits her email application, and sets Slack to do not disturb. For the next 90 minutes, she exists in a digital environment designed for concentration rather than distraction. This isn't about becoming antisocial or ignoring legitimate work communication. It's about recognizing that different types of work require different types of mental environments. Just as you wouldn't try to have a serious conversation in a noisy restaurant, you shouldn't attempt complex thinking in a notification-rich digital environment. Marcus Aurelius demonstrated this principle during military campaigns. When strategic planning required deep analysis, he created physical and temporal boundaries that protected his thinking process. Urgent battlefield reports could wait an hour if strategic clarity required uninterrupted reflection. He understood that better decisions made with focused attention often prevented the very crises that seemed to demand immediate reactive responses. Let's examine what focus looked like in ancient Rome compared to modern America. Romans worked with what we might call natural attention spans. Without digital devices, their minds could settle into sustained concentration more easily. They experienced what psychologists call monotasking, engaging fully with one activity at a time rather than juggling multiple streams of input. Seneca, who managed complex business enterprises while writing philosophical works, described this approach. It is likely that some troubles will befall us, but it is not a present fact. How often has the unexpected happened? How often has the expected never come to pass? He focused completely on immediate tasks rather than allowing his mind to scatter across hypothetical future problems or past concerns. This principle becomes especially powerful when applied to modern knowledge work. Consider Michael, a software architect in San Francisco, who transformed his productivity by adopting Roman-style focused practices. Instead of keeping multiple projects active simultaneously, he works on one complex problem at a time with complete attention. Michael discovered that 90 minutes of undistracted coding accomplished more than 4 hours of interrupted programming. When his mind could settle deeply into a problem without external fragmentation, solutions emerged that remained hidden during scattered attention. Complex architectural decisions that seemed impossible during distracted work became manageable during focused sessions. The implementation requires what Marcus called discipline of desire, the ability to resist immediate gratification for longer-term benefits. Every notification offers instant stimulation, but checking it fragments the sustained attention that produces meaningful work. Every interruption provides social connection, but allowing it prevents the deep thinking that creates genuine value. Start by identifying your most cognitively demanding work, the tasks that require original thinking, complex analysis, or creative problem solving. Then create what ancient Romans would recognize as appropriate working conditions. Eliminate competing inputs, establish clear time boundaries, and protect these sessions as rigorously as you would protect important meetings. This means turning off notifications, closing unnecessary applications, and perhaps most importantly, training your mind to resist the urge to check messages or browse websites during focused work sessions. Marcus Aurelius compared this mental training to physical conditioning. It requires consistent practice to develop strength. Begin with shorter sessions and gradually increase duration as your focus stamina improves. 20 minutes of genuine concentration often accomplishes more than 2 hours of fragmented attention. As your capacity for sustained focus grows, extend these sessions to match the natural rhythms of complex thinking. The goal isn't to become antisocial or ignore legitimate communication needs. It's to create designated times for deep work that match the focused attention such work deserves. Marcus Aurelius remained accessible to his empire while still maintaining the concentrated thinking that effective leadership required. Clearly, then, ancient Roman focus practices provide a tested framework for maintaining deep concentration in modern environments, creating the mental conditions necessary for complex thinking and meaningful work. This foundation of focused attention naturally supports the ultimate Stoic practice that transforms how we approach every decision and interaction throughout our daily lives. 8. The one habit that makes all others unbreakable. Here's the scenario. Tom, an operations manager in Atlanta, faces a situation that tests everything he's learned about building better habits. His morning routine is disrupted by a family emergency. His carefully planned day dissolves into crisis management, and his usual evening practices become impossible due to unexpected overtime. By 11 p.m., exhausted and frustrated, Tom feels like all his progress toward better habits has crumbled in a single chaotic day. But what if there was one underlying practice that could make all other habits resilient to disruption? What if ancient philosophers discovered a foundation so strong that external circumstances couldn't shake it, so flexible that it could adapt to any situation, and so powerful that it actually grew stronger under pressure? Marcus Aurelius found himself in exactly Tom's position countless times during his reign as Roman emperor. Plagues disrupted his routines, wars scattered his plans, and political crises demanded his immediate attention regardless of personal schedules. Yet Marcus maintained one constant practice that anchored all others: the habit of asking, "What is the right thing to do in this moment?" This wasn't a philosophical abstraction for Marcus. It was practical guidance that transformed every situation into an opportunity for character development. When his morning meditation was interrupted by urgent military reports, he practiced virtue by giving those reports his complete attention. When his evening reflection time was consumed by administrative duties, he practiced virtue by handling those duties with excellence and integrity. The emperor understood something that Tom hasn't learned yet. Circumstances are temporary, but character choices are permanent. You can't control when emergencies happen, but you can control how you respond to them. You can't guarantee that your routines will remain undisturbed, but you can guarantee that your commitment to doing what's right will remain constant. Consider what happens when we make virtue, rather than schedule adherence, the foundation of our daily practice. Instead of feeling defeated when external circumstances disrupt our plans, we recognize these disruptions as opportunities to practice adaptability, resilience, and grace under pressure. Instead of viewing crisis as evidence of failure, we see it as a chance to demonstrate the character we've been developing. Let's return to Tom's challenging day with this perspective. The family emergency that disrupted his morning routine becomes an opportunity to practice compassion and responsibility. The work crisis that scattered his planned schedule becomes a chance to demonstrate calm leadership and problem-solving under pressure. The overtime that eliminated his evening practices becomes an occasion to show dedication and service to his team. None of these circumstances were Tom's first choice, but all of them provided opportunities to practice virtue. By shifting his focus from external conditions to internal choices, Tom transforms a day of disrupted habits into a day of character strengthening. Marcus Aurelius demonstrated this principle during some of history's most challenging circumstances. While leading military campaigns against barbarian invasions, he could have justified abandoning his philosophical practices due to battlefield demands. Instead, he adapted his practice of virtue to military leadership, applying Stoic principles to strategic decisions, troop morale, and diplomatic negotiations. When the Antonine Plague devastated the Roman Empire, Marcus could have focused entirely on administrative crisis management. Instead, he used the plague as an opportunity to practice virtue on an empire-wide scale, implementing relief measures that demonstrated compassion, justice, and practical wisdom under extreme pressure. The beauty of virtue-based living lies in its complete independence from external circumstances. You can practice courage whether you're facing a boardroom presentation or a family crisis. You can demonstrate justice whether you're managing a team or helping a neighbor. You can embody wisdom whether you're making strategic business decisions or handling unexpected challenges. Seneca, who managed vast business enterprises while navigating treacherous political environments, wrote extensively about this principle. He observed that people who depend on external circumstances for their well-being become vulnerable to forces beyond their control. But people who focus on virtue as their primary practice become increasingly resilient as external pressures mount. This resilience emerges because virtue-based habits have different characteristics than circumstance-dependent habits. If your primary practice is going to the gym at 6 a.m., travel disrupts it. If your primary practice is maintaining physical health through movement, you can adapt to any environment. If your specific habit is journaling for 20 minutes each morning, schedule changes can derail it. If your underlying practice is regular self-reflection, you can find moments for this practice throughout any day. Consider Sarah, a consultant in Denver, who transformed her approach to daily practices by adopting this virtue-based foundation. Previously, she felt frustrated whenever business travel, client demands, or unexpected meetings disrupted her carefully planned routines. She measured success by adherence to specific schedules and felt like a failure whenever circumstances forced changes. After studying Stoic philosophy, Sarah redefined her practice around virtue rather than routine. Instead of trying to meditate for exactly 20 minutes each morning, she committed to finding moments of stillness and reflection whenever possible. Instead of insisting on specific exercise times, she focused on making movement choices that honored her body throughout the day. Instead of requiring perfect conditions for focused work, she practiced giving her best attention to whatever task demanded immediate priority. This shift liberated Sarah from the tyranny of perfect circumstances while strengthening her commitment to personal growth. She discovered that virtue-based practices actually become more powerful under pressure because they require active choice rather than passive habit following. The implementation starts with understanding virtue not as abstract moral theory, but as practical character skills. Courage means choosing helpful action despite fear or uncertainty. Justice means treating others fairly regardless of personal convenience. Wisdom means making decisions based on long-term consequences rather than immediate impulses. Temperance means choosing appropriate responses rather than extreme reactions. These character choices are available in every situation, regardless of external circumstances. When your planned morning routine gets disrupted, you can practice wisdom by adapting gracefully rather than becoming frustrated. When work demands extend beyond normal hours, you can practice justice by serving your team's needs while maintaining appropriate boundaries. When unexpected challenges arise, you can practice courage by facing them directly rather than avoiding or procrastinating. Marcus Aurelius summed up this approach. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for, the things I was brought into the world to do? The specific tasks might change, but the commitment to virtue remains constant. Ultimately, virtue becomes the unbreakable habit that makes all other habits more resilient because it doesn't depend on perfect conditions, specific timing, or external cooperation. It only requires your conscious choice to do what's right in whatever circumstances you face. This foundation naturally leads us to consider how all these individual practices integrate into a complete system for living with wisdom, resilience, and effectiveness regardless of what life presents. Your unbreakable daily practice system. Think back to Sarah, the marketing manager from Chicago, whose elaborate routine crumbled after 3 weeks when life got messy. Now imagine her 6 months later, moving through her day with quiet confidence regardless of circumstances. Her flight gets delayed, but she uses the airport time for reflection. Her morning meeting runs long, but she practices patience and presence. Her evening plans change suddenly, but she adapts with grace rather than frustration. What transformed Sarah wasn't a more complex routine. It was understanding the difference between rigid systems that break under pressure and flexible practices that grow stronger through challenge. She discovered what Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus knew. True resilience comes from principles that adapt to any situation, not schedules that require perfect conditions. Your unbreakable daily practice system isn't about doing 8 specific activities in precise order every single day. It's about carrying 8 flexible tools that you can use regardless of circumstances. When you wake up early and own your morning, you're practicing intentional living. When you write for 5 minutes and clarify your thoughts, you're developing mental discipline. When you walk and allow your mind to wander, you're connecting body and spirit. When you read wisdom daily, you're building intellectual strength. When you seek small challenges, you're training resilience. When you tackle hard things first, you're creating momentum. When you focus deeply without distraction, you're honoring the importance of your work. And when you choose virtue in every situation, you're becoming the person these practices are designed to create. These aren't just productivity hacks or life optimization techniques. They're character-building practices that the greatest minds in history used to live with wisdom, courage, and integrity under the most challenging circumstances imaginable. They worked for emperors governing vast territories, philosophers facing persecution, and teachers guiding students through turbulent times. They'll work for you, navigating the complexities of modern American life. The beauty of this system lies in its complete adaptability. Traveling for work? Practice virtue in your interactions and find moments for reflection during transit. Dealing with a family crisis? Let wisdom guide your responses and seek brief walks between responsibilities. Facing workplace pressure? Apply focused attention to important tasks and maintain morning intentionality even if timing shifts. Start tomorrow with just one practice, perhaps claiming the first 10 minutes of your day for intentional thought before checking messages. Notice how this small choice ripples through your entire morning. Add another practice when the first becomes natural. Build gradually, consistently, always remembering that flexibility serves you better than rigidity. Marcus Aurelius faced plagues, wars, and political chaos while maintaining these practices. You can face your Monday morning meetings, family obligations, and unexpected challenges while applying the same timeless wisdom. The ancient Stoics didn't promise that life would become easy. They promised that you would become stronger. These practices don't eliminate life's difficulties. They transform how you meet them. Your journey toward unbreakable daily habits starts with a single choice made in the next moment you face. Choose wisdom over reaction, intention over impulse, virtue over convenience. If this resonates with your desire to build a more resilient, purposeful life, subscribe to Stoic Vivu for more practical ancient wisdom. Like this content if it helped you see daily habits differently, and share it with someone who's struggling to build consistency in their life. Together, we're creating a community that understands how timeless principles solve modern problems. Your unbreakable practice system awaits your commitment.